Do you want to introduce it?
I can't remember what we say. Should I do it? No.
Yeah, go on. Hello, everybody. Go on.
Welcome everyone to the Short Fuse podcast. Don't laugh immediately. That's rude. I'd never do that to you.
Go again.
What was funny about hello and welcome to the?
It was just like, well,
I'm the DiCaprio of the podcast. I just steer into it.
Welcome everybody to Short Fuse.
That was not my tone at all. Welcome everyone to the Short Fuse podcast with me, Ollie O'Donoghue, and sidekick, B player, Duncan Roberts.
Hello.
Say hello, Duncan.
No,
wait.
Sorry.
Wait.
Do it again.
Do it again. Don't say hello, Duncan Roberts.
Hello. I'm not going to do the dad thing of saying hello, Duncan Roberts. Hello.
I thought you were going to. I'm disappointed.
Well,
I thought and the audience
subverting
would
expectations.
In many ways, that's the nature of this podcast, isn't it? Because I think people who know about it expect it to be good, and we subvert those expectations immediately. Seconds in.
Especially today with what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, go on then. You know the theme. That's enough of an introduction for me. It was professional. Go on.
It was lovely. Well, okay, so today it's the last episode of Series 2. I don't know why we split it into series because there really was no need. But it's the last episode of Series 2. Money.
Sponsor dollars, mate. Sponsor dollars. That's why you do it.
Why just splitting it into...
Well, because you get a sponsor for Series 1. And then, obviously, you will become incredibly famous, and we don't want to be locked into those same terms,
right?
So, for season 3, once we get all of the big hitters sponsoring us, then we'll only carry that through for Series 3, and then for season 4, we'll renegotiate again.
Okay, right. I'll let you do the business side of things then. Just not the introductions.
I don't know if that's how any of this works. We are yet to have anyone. Type in.
We've got to get listeners before we get sponsors, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So it is the last episode of Series 2, and rather than focus on a single idea or technology or something to vote on, we're actually going to do a quick fire, lots of different things. Some of which has come from people chatting to us outside and saying, "I'd like you to talk about this." Or other things we've already discussed in part in other podcasts, and other things are just completely absurd. So I'm going to read out a bunch of, how many of them are there? About 20 odd, something like that, things. And we'll have a quick discussion on each of them. All right, so let's go through some of these lists. It's going to be relatively quick fire, but we will have a discussion on it. Number 1, Ollie. Are you long or short on internet memes or memes?
But we've talked about this a little bit, going viral.
Memes specifically, not just going viral. Memes.
So like the images of Willy Wonka, condescending Wonka, that type of thing.
Blimey, I wonder where you're going.
I said it perfectly.
Yeah,
could have gone wrong. It did not. For our American listeners.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, those images, not the others. Yeah.
Long. I can see now. I wonder whether or not it's a millennial thing, though.
Might be. Do you think there's an alternative?
Yeah, short videos. So, and I found this out the other day. This is interesting. Well, to me anyway. In China, short, like 30 to 90 second series, like genuine storylines, almost like EastEnders, but in 30 to 90 seconds, where the story carries on over that time frame, is bringing in more money than the Chinese box office now because of the change in viewing habits. Which is, I mean, it's insane, isn't it, when you think about it? So I wonder if a humble, condescending Wonka to annoy a friend is enough for this new generation of content hungry, but also attention poor Gen Zers.
Well, I think memes are kind of like the language of one of the languages of the internet. So it's not going to go away. It's long, but they will change. I love a meme. I like seeing new memes being created. So like a still from a TV show or something like that. And I don't think that's going to go away. Like a viral moment becoming a meme. All right, next one.
I have a group of friends I only talk to in like GIFs or GIFs. And that's so I'd hate to see memes go away because it's very similar, and obviously that they're derived often from memes, and that's just out of laziness. I can't be bothered to type.
I think you can say a lot in a GIF. I love them, but I often send them, and then people just don't react, and then I feel a bit awkward.
Problem solved, because it's the engaging with the people that I wrestle with the most. So I feel like I have to send something. So I will find the closest templatized version of a response that fits the situation. I'll leave it there,
and it's like a full stop to the conversation.
Yeah,
perfect.
Like, kind of my condolences GIF, that type of thing. I don't have to actually type. It's a really long word. I don't have to type that out.
Yeah, it's true. All right, influencers, long or short?
Oh God, I'd love it to be short but long.
Do you think that de-influencing as a counter trend is going to become more popular? Because like influencers are very much, everybody knows they're sponsored, everybody knows they're a bit fake. Do you think that it will be a bit better? We'll get much more niche influencers, but they'll become more popular?
I don't know. I don't know, because people are consuming what influencers say without a tremendous amount of thought. And my thoughts on this. There are entire TikToks with people who don't really understand anything, giving people financial advice. And underneath it, there's hundreds of comments of people being like, oh, great, yeah, I'll go out and do that now. Okay, it makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
There was a thing I saw the other day of this kind of AI-created influencer who had put together this image of these gears working, and it was clearly nonsense. These gears just wouldn't work, and there was a bunch of responses saying, "Oh, you're really helping me understand engineering. Gosh, this is amazing." People just lapping it up.
Exactly. It drives me crazy. Like, honestly, it's just that it's so stupid. It's absolutely so stupid.
But it's all about the engagement. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong.
No, exactly. So I'd like to see it more heavily regulated, but I don't know how you would do that. And it's a technological problem, because really what it is, it's the same dynamic as like the influential kid on the playground when you're at school that would just say nonsense, right? But at the time they were so compelling and influential, they were like, oh, well, they said it, so it must be true. And we've had this where we've been talking in later life, like we're both much older now, and there are things
I'm much older than you.
I know, which people won't believe when they see us standing next to each other. But I've lived a very hard life. But like, there are things as an adult where even now I have to be like, hang on, what do you mean? I thought it was this. And then when you track it back, it was a kid who was just so influential on the playground. And now those kids have like 2 million followers.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's the problem. I don't think it's going to go away, because people just naturally, seemingly, people like to be influenced, and they don't question like whether or not what's being said is good, true.
They're not questioning where their authority comes from, are they?
Yeah, the authority or intent. Yeah, if the intent is like, hey, I just want to, I just want to sell this product as many times as I possibly can. That part of the story is being regulated now, I think, quite aggressively. But I wish it was short, but no, the long, unfortunately.
All right,
and I think we're technically influencers, Duncan, but in a very specific context. We're not like.
I'd love to know who I've influenced recently. All right, next one, pets. We're both pet owners.
I'm 100% long on pets. What do you mean? that's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I'm long on pets as well. I just wanted to tell a little story about how I was in Waitrose the other day.
This is exactly how I thought this would go. Which is like, when a kid has seen a documentary on a thing and they just manipulate the conversation no matter what to be on that thing. Like, we should talk about trains more, and it's because they've just read a book on trains.
This is my entire life. It's just spent trying to wangle conversations around to things that I know how to talk about. Because what else are you going to do? We'll just stand there and listen to people? No way. I want to be the one talking.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
Right. So here's my little story, very quick. There was a man walking around Waitrose and this is such a Waitrose thing. If you're not from the UK, Waitrose is a very upmarket supermarket. I feel quite
privileged, posh.
I feel quite underprivileged in Waitrose.
Oh, the opposite.
Yeah.
Oh, so you steer out of the experience. You feel
well,
alienated.
no, I like being there because it makes me feel better than I really am. I mean, I shop in Waitrose. Well, anyway, I was in Waitrose, very upmarket, expensive supermarket. I don't do my regular shopping there because I'm not made of money. But there was a man in there with a robot dog. And he used this robot dog to carry his basket around, and it was following him. So now I'm completely long on pets. I love my dog. But people are getting robot pets now. But it seemed quite useful.
It's that experience, I feel like, is both unique to Waitrose and the part of the world where you live, Duncan. I'm not going to say where it is because when this goes famous, they'll be stalking us. You know them. Yeah, I don't think that's going to get rid of pets. I mean, I've got my two little beasts sitting next to me.
Why do you have your pets? It's not to carry a shopping basket around, is it?
No, I rescued them.
He loves his dogs, as we
do.
And of course, we're long on pets. We love our pets. I just think that some people will have robotic pets to serve them rather than be their companions and carry their shopping around Waitrose.
Such a depressing thought, isn't it? I've just finished reading Clara and the Sun, which, you know, AF's Artificial Friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I was reading that thinking, like, it doesn't actually feel that crazy off into the future. Like, I think it's supposed to be, but it doesn't feel that crazy off into the future. And we've talked about that a little bit.
Let's move on to one of my other ones, which is imaginary friends. Are you long or short on imaginary friends? Did you have an imaginary friend as a child?
I don't think I did.
Did you not?
I don't remember having an imaginary friend. I don't think I could ask my mum and dad, but I don't think I did. As an idea, did you?
Yeah. Squirrel.
And you could see this friend, could you? Like, how did it work?
No.
You just pretended you had a friend.
Yeah, because I didn't have any real ones. So I imagined that I was friends with a squirrel who was about human-sized.
Okay.
That's about it. That's all there is to the story.
My only experience with imaginary friends is via the film Drop Dead Fred, which is fantastic. It's a fantastic
Rick Mayall.
Yeah, and I was always, you know, I watched that as when I was younger, and I always felt like I'd missed out on having Rick Mayall as a imaginary friend.
All you needed to do was imagine him. Nothing was stopping you.
So well, that's true, but I think you go down a dangerous path, don't you, if you're constantly imagining?
Well, here's the thing: if you don't have an imaginary friends, and people get imaginary friends for companionship where they don't have real friends, a la me, then now kids will just turn to AI.
So so now we're talking about something that you're right. Got it.
Yeah. You understand
I'm on board
now.
No, it's not. Well, I understand why this is worth talking about, because this is when you pitched this idea to me, I became nervous immediately because like, what's in it for anyone else? Right. So that is interesting. So if children have, because we did, if you remember, we did that little piece of research together, exploring the impact of things like Alexa on children, and how children are becoming more transactional in the way that they engaged with their peers in school, because their formative first 5 years before they went into like primary school or nursery school, they were hearing their parents kind of going, you know, Alexa, set a timer,
and just barking
Alexa.
orders and
Right.
not learning how to ask for things nicely.
Yeah, and because they're only kind of subjected to that quite small social circle, and that social circle now has a bot in it that is treated very differently, that they were changing as a result. And I think that's an important part. I mean, there's an interesting kind of separate example is like the role of GPS and the way it's changed the way people remember long bits of information. So it was normal for you to remember quite long, complicated directions. I turn left here, turn right here, and we just stopped. Right, we don't need to because of GPS. And now you find, you know, I find myself lost all the time.
I turn the GPS on as soon as I get in the car, no matter where I'm going.
Same.
My argument is, well, I need to know what the shortest way to get there is in case there's any traffic, and this knows there's traffic. Whereas realistically, I'm just following the directions blindly.
Yeah, and what's interesting there is that it has changed the way people's minds work. In theory, I mean, there's a lot of studies going into it, but it's changed the way that you remember directions, and people find it difficult to navigate and things like that. So the idea that children who could and this was another part of this research, is children felt more comfortable confiding in Alexa than humans at a very young age, then maybe they won't have imaginary friends. The role of your imagination,
friends like Clara and the Sun. Yeah.
God, we've gone full circle.
And,
well done.
There was a thing in there was a thing that Google were going to release. I remember this was years ago. It was something that you could turn on for the Google Assistant called Please and Thank Yous, and it would only give you answers if you said please and thank you. It never actually, they announced it, but I don't think it ever made it into like the live softwares. But I was quite interested in it because it was teaching people to be polite to AI. Because how many times have you told your AI to, you know, do unspeakable things because it's got stuff wrong, or shouted at it, or said things you shouldn't have said to it?
I resolved in the new year to be nicer to my bots, just again to stop me being a jerk accidentally to humans. So I now do say please and thank you, because it used to, because you can get like a readout of your request, can't you? And I realized just how profane I am to my poor Alexa. Honestly.
So when they become self-aware, they'll be like, "This is the last time you speak to me like this." Yeah.
Fair enough.
Right. Next one, virtual avatars, and I don't mean avatars as in you playing a game and your representation of yourself there, or in virtual reality, or in the metaverse, or whatever. I mean, there's this thing that you can do with generative AI now, right, where you can create a person and you can just create a video of that person talking, and it's like a company video or an advert like that, and it's just a human. Like the examples that I showed you when I went to that conference of the assistant who you're speaking to, and it's like a human, really uncanny valley, and they'll answer you based on a generative AI response.
I don't know that I feel strongly either way. I suppose I err on uncomfortable. I don't like it because you've done it to me before, where you've used AI to create a version of me.
Yeah, but that was just text. Imagine if I could take your likeness, God forbid, and turn it into a virtual avatar that talks to people.
Oh, it'd save me a lot of bother, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know how other people would feel about it. But it's the whole uncanny valley thing where you're a bit dead behind the eyes, and you're so realistic, but not realistic. I mean, you're a bit dead behind the eyes.
I was about to say, it's as good as that. Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. I saw a couple of those at a conference. So the woman, the kind of the standby animation, I think I sent you a video of it, was her looking like she was about to barf. So
right.
Yeah. It wasn't particularly pleasant experience, and they're still very robotic, and it's still so obviously not human. Even the ones that are exceptionally realistic, it's still so obviously not human that I'm not sure.
I struggle with understanding why you would need it, because we keep going down this path. This isn't new. Like, I think there was Amelia, wasn't there, in the early days of automation that became kind of the poster bot, let's say, of and it looked very realistic, and it was kind of this human interface chatbot. But I just don't know what extra value that added to the experience for anyone.
I guess in some cases, like if you're a big enterprise and you need to make a training video, would it help if you could just create virtual avatars of people having conversations? But would that, because that's cheaper than hiring an actor?
Yeah, I just don't. I've never really bought into it, and it may be that I just want. I think we're progressively moving towards a society that wants an immediacy of response, because we're just used to it. That's what digital technology has given us. So anything that kind of adds a bit of friction to that, which is more conversational, isn't always what people want. We always assume it is. You know, and ChatGPT being a good example of people, you know, the feedback and the reason it got adopted so much was people just like, oh, it's almost like it's talking back to me.
Yeah.
But that was a different kind of value proposition to people. They were asking it questions, and almost like they would ask, you know, let's say a geography teacher or a history teacher. It's slightly different. But in most other walks of life, you just want whatever it is solved, or you want access to it. And I've always struggled with the idea that having a moving image of a human being telling me the same information I could get over email is better. I just don't understand why it's better and why people would want it. And I think that's played out in the adoption of those technologies, because they've been around for a while. They're not as good as they are now, but they've been around for a long time. And like, I mean, dare I say it, the ones which help people with healthcare issues and things like that. Again, I just don't really understand why data dressed up in an avatar is better than just the data.
Yeah, I guess it's to try and build some sort of empathy or relationship. If you haven't built that relationship with that person over time, it's as good as useless, right? Because you're just talking to a new person and you don't have a relationship with that new person. It might as well just be a person. It might as well be an avatar. You don't have a relationship with it. It's just providing you information.
But then you've stepped into something interesting there, which is if you have so you're a digital artificial friend that you do trust because it gets it right. That would be different, I think. So if that presented its own, it's where it gets very sci-fi and a bit creepy, because in all the sci-fi films, people who have that end up falling in love with their bot, don't they? And trying to marry it and everything like that. And I wonder if we'll have that problem. But where it is like, so you've developed a rapport with your personal agent that then faces off with all of the different data, whether it's healthcare or buying new shoes or whatever, and you have that trust, and it's easier for you as a human to identify and validate that trust in the way that this is presented to you as a virtual agent. I can see that making a lot of sense. Where I struggle is where these virtual agents become the front office for organizations and basically just say what you could read on the website or get in a chatbot via text or in an email.
Or here,
or here. Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't. It just never really. It always felt very gimmicky, and it still does.
Well, it feels like you're actually undermining that trust, because actually you trust it more if it was just in text or audio. As soon as you put this kind of human avatar behind it that isn't real, you trust it less.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Spiders, long or short? Quickly.
Long.
Why?
Yeah. Well, because they're an important part of the ecosystem. There'd be flies everywhere.
They keep the flies away. People don't like spiders, but they keep the flies away.
There's there was some research done, and the way it was represented was like your computer screen covered in flies. And effectively, what they'd done is they'd calculated how many more flies there would be briefly, because like the entire ecosystems would collapse if there were no spiders, and it's a lot. Like it like I say, it represented per square inch how many flies there would be in your office, and it was just absolutely covered. So yeah, incredibly important.
There's a really fascinating trend at the moment in computer games, especially in VR, where a game, I think it was Metro VR, the Metro series of games that are set in the sewers. Oh, yeah. There was a VR game based on that, and there were these big spiders in it, and they had to patch it because it was too intense for people in VR who had arachnophobia to have those spiders around. So they had to create a spider-free mode because people were so terrified of them.
They have done that in another game that I play, which is where you create industry production lines, and one of the enemies are like space spiders, and there is a mode where you can turn space spiders off. They're represented, I think, as cats instead,
right?
Which is scarier.
Is there a catophobia mode?
Well, maybe, but it's the original mode then, isn't it?
What's the spiders? What
spider mode? You can only be afraid of one thing.
Yeah. So anyway, right. Long on spiders, short on them in games. Going out. Long or short on going out?
As in leaving the house, or the concept of going out drinking and
going,
having
going
a nice
out,
time?
Going out.
Out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, long.
Yeah.
Long, yeah. I think, again, I think there'll almost be a counter reaction to how easy it is post-pandemic to consume most of what you want to consume in the home, like in terms of media services. So we all went through that period through the pandemic. Actually, you could argue it was kind of relatively necessary because we were becoming more insular, and then everyone was just like, well, that sucked being locked down. And leisure services went through the roof. In terms of consumption, because everyone went out and were like, actually, I really enjoy staying out. And I think now people place more value on going out. The drinking part is a different part of the equation, because there's a big demographic shift against drinking, which I think is interesting.
And that's why I put it in, because there's lots of stuff in the news about Gen, whatever Gen it is, like A, not being able to afford to go out, and B, not really wanting to go out and staying in, getting their friends around, or just being antisocial, because it's just not that pleasant for them.
I think it's in Japan. It's so common for people just to stay in and live quite lonely lives in specific demographics that they have a name for it. And I can't remember what the name is, but it's considered like quite a social challenge, a new social challenge that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And there is that risk here because, like you say, it is expensive going out. I mean, honestly, £6 a pint, even where I live,
that's cheap.
I know, but it isn't where I live. It's crazy.
Yeah,
like there's over the last 2 years, £6 a pint. It's incredible. And I know I'm going to sound really old, but I can remember when you used to go out with a crisp £10 note.
Yeah,
and you would come home packed to the gills with Guinness. You'd have a very nice time.
It's the same, slightly more wholesome, like with the cinema, where it could £20 a cinema ticket. It's crazy. Just get all your mates around, go around to your mates with a big 50-inch television.
Well, that's. I mean, I don't go to the cinema anymore. I get frustrated around other people. You know that, Duncan. And I do have a big television at home, especially you. That's why I don't go to the cinema with you specifically, because you ask me questions.
I keep asking you to go
long
watch
or short
that
this scene.
I keep asking you to go watch that rom-com with me, but no.
Yeah, well, I know what you're like.
Yeah,
I know what you're like. You
Pounce
do that
at the first possible.
put your arm around me. Oh, I'm just leaving this here to rest. I know what's going on. I've seen all the tutorial videos.
All right, next one. Emails.
Short.
Right. Okay. Interesting, because I put this in because everybody thought emails were dead when Slack started coming up and Microsoft Teams, and I think there's that synchronous versus asynchronous conversation. We both, I think I've spoken to you about this, like the most irritating thing on something like Slack or Teams is when somebody just goes, hi. And they're just waiting. Yeah. They're just trying to engage you in a synchronous conversation. Whereas the whole point that I like it because it's asynchronous, I can reply when I want. And then when you can get into that conversation, that's fine. But why are you short on emails?
I just don't think it's how people communicate anymore. And again, I think the new generation coming in just aren't gonna do it,
even in a professional setting.
Yeah, I think it's just not a very efficient way of communicating. I don't think people aren't. When you look at the amount of resources that it consumes in an organization, if let's say you're the CEO of a let's say 100,000 people in your company, and you've got all of the data on how long it takes everyone to read and reply to emails. Would you see that as a justified expense? Probably not. It's it's a crazy amount of time, and a lot of the time we're not very thoughtful over email, over what it is we want. We're just, hey, FYI, just telling you. There's all of those kind of memeable corporate jokes of, hey, I hope this email finds you well. It absolutely does not. Whereas
as per my previous email.
Right, yeah, all the passive aggression that comes with it. Whereas I think over things like Teams and I mean Skype's dead now, isn't it? But exactly. But like other IM channels, Slack, great one. That type of communication is just what people are used to. So I think there is a big generational shift. I've noticed it where younger workers are far more likely to use Teams, let's say. And use it properly, so they don't do their hi ... They understand, like, I'm going to send all the information I need to send to this person. I'd love it if they replied immediately, but if they don't, that's also fine. It's, I would say, our generation, Duncan, the kind of the millennials who do the hi ... because we grew up with both when they were both strong.
Yeah.
So one is used for, hey, I'm sending you this, so I have evidence and you don't fire me.
Yeah.
I.e. emails.
Yeah.
And Teams is, I would like to speak to you now, but I also am terrified. Yeah, I'm terrified of calling you because they're scared of the phone.
Yeah.
So this is better. Whereas I think once we get over that and the new generation seems to have, then you won't need emails anymore.
Yeah. Just as an example, I've just gone to my personal email and my promotions folder. So where people are sending me promotional emails has a total unread count of 32,495. So clearly I don't use emails that much.
this is going to tell you a lot about how we're different, Duncan. So I've got a personal one. I've had this personal account most of my life, right? Again, which is important because you accumulate all of this trash over time across all of my inboxes. And this is just from today. I have 29 unread emails.
Crikey. Yeah, so I've got 32,495 in promotions, 18,043 in updates. So yeah, quite a lot of unread stuff there.
You are down, and this is again why I think email's dead. So first of all, it's just pointless communication channel.
Yeah,
you know, in the respect that you're talking about it, it's just pointless. Cold emails don't work. Corporate, I think it'll still be a place, but I think it'll just be used less and less and less. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason for that is instant messaging's just got better. Mm-hmm. So you can record all the data, you can summarize it using AI and stuff like that in a better way.
You're seeing businesses go onto WhatsApp more and more and more, aren't you? Because they're, rather than sending emails, they're sending you WhatsApps now.
Yeah. Because it's safer, it's easier to get like a track record of what's been said. You can engage with it in a different way. Mm-hmm. I mean, Outlook's put in, you can like emails now and stuff like that in Outlook, but like who does? I mean, seriously. Whereas in Teams, you could be like, I could post a message to the team and be like, hey, here's what we're doing. And everyone could just give it a thumbs up. It takes a second out of their day.
Do you find that passive aggressive though? I find that quite passive aggressive. If I send somebody a message and they just reply with a thumbs up reaction, I'm a bit like, harsh.
Again, I think that's an us thing. It's an us thing. We grew up on MSN, right? Where you had to have a meaningful response. Like, you know, no one was going to talk to you on MSN if they said like, oh, here's what I'm listening to right now, and you just gave them a thumbs up. You know, they were never talking to you again. So I think that's this generation. I don't think that's.
I find it quite passive aggressive, unless it's a heart. In which case, I think that someone's in love with me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But again, I think you see a big generational shift there. So younger generations are more likely, I think, to do the thumbs up because it's about efficiency. Like, oh, I got the information I needed, thanks. It's just another communication channel for them, which I think is interesting.
Okay. All right. Let's do one last one. I'm trying to find one last one that's a bit interesting. All right, okay. Subscription models. Do you think that charging for things like streaming services, AI, all of these different things, that subscription models are long for the world, or is there going to have to be something else done?
Oh, I think they're long because what's the equivalent? You take on all of the capital costs at the start. How would it work? You know, I think you have to have subscription models. I mean, they're a very efficient way of getting what you want. Without having to bear the full cost of ownership, you know.
So I'm long on subscription because I think the way that you pay for kind of monthly services makes sense. But the fact that everything is a separate subscription model is right. Just unsustainable. I don't know about you with the amount of subscriptions I have to TV streaming services now. I pay more than I would for Sky. You know, it's absurd. And I cancel one and I cancel another. Like something is, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. And then having these new AI services all kind of under a subscription service. Like, sure, you can use them for free, but the most advanced features are hidden behind a subscription service. And they're quite expensive, right? They're quite expensive, right? Like, so £18.99 for ChatGPT Pro. I think it's the same for Gemini Advanced, Claude. Like, if you want to do it, or you're spending quite a lot of money a month. So whether something can, you go back to that kind of Sky TV model where you've got all of the different TV channels under one subscription. Maybe you'll pay more for it, but it's just easier to manage. I don't know. It feels like some kind of amalgamation of this will happen in the future.
Yeah, there's a huge influx of applications that in the early days, because it's all you're allowed to do, give you intelligence on the amount of subscriptions that are coming out and for what, because there are so many. You're right. It's like it's a big problem. In fact, I think organizations like Money Saving Expert, you know, Martin Lewis, are constantly saying like you should do a subscription audit every month because this stuff is just out of control. So I think that is a legitimate problem. what I think is interesting, we've talked about this a little bit, is if you have that, let's say an AI agent that's your buddy. So not only is it your friend, but it also manages. So it becomes the interface with all those organizations, because they're all going to want their bit of kibble, their bit of cash. You're not going to be able to convince Netflix to route your engagement through Now TV, although some are. So, for example, if you look at Amazon Prime Television, there are you can access a lot of other digital services through the veneer of Amazon Prime, because I think the digital services recognize they're far more likely to get added to the package than if they were to go it alone. But that kind of consolidation, I think, will be rare in the digital
But maybe
world.
it won't be those companies that consolidate. It will consolidate at your AI agent level. Who will manage it is what you're saying,
Yeah, exactly that. I think, and whether or not that's superficial, you put that in place and you say like, hey, Ollie too, keep an eye on my subscriptions.
So your imaginary friend is just you.
Yeah, the only guy I can trust. Yeah, Ollie too. It's just both of us.
I thought it'd be me. I thought it'd be like a version of me that was with you all the time.
Can you imagine that? Like how it would ask me like, hi, I've rationalised your subscriptions. Are you long or short Netflix? Short, cancelled.
So
are you long Now TV?
Our relationship isn't just this podcast, is it?
Maybe not to you. Maybe you're kind of gleaning more value out of this in other ways. Wow. I'm not. This is just, to me, this is a means to an end, buddy.
We have learned a lot about each other over the course of the past 40 or so minutes. Right, thanks for everybody for listening. Say bye-bye, Ollie, and we will see you next series.
Goodbye.